Don't waste your money on the wrong repairs. I'm going to talk about the right repairs before putting a home on the market here in San Diego County. The first repair I'm going to talk about is patching holes and putting up a fresh coat of paint. Repainting the interior of a home, not the entire interior, but areas that need attention, is one of the least expensive things that you can do before you put a home on the market. It freshens up the space and it makes it look move-in ready versus if you had holes in the walls or scrapes on the walls or even a very old colored paint or taste-specific paint. That should be changed before you put a home on the market. If there are noticeable holes in the walls, and I'm not just talking nail holes, I'm talking holes in the walls or scraped areas or damaged walls in any way, or even an old outdated paint color or very taste specific paint color, it's best to go ahead and freshen up the property with a fresh coat of paint in a neutral color that buyers will not find offensive. When I say this is a least expensive, it's still kind of expensive because paint has increased a lot in cost. I think right now it's about $60 a gallon. It's wild. I recently met with a family that are selling their brother's property here in San Diego, and they talked with me and Ashlie about painting the walls, changing the covers on the electrical outlets, and installing new carpet. Well, that was a great idea, I told them, but then I looked up and I said, there's popcorn ceilings, and no buyers like popcorn ceilings. And it definitely would make the house look better because the paint was older and it hadn't been painted in quite a few years. But I recommended that they consider the cost of removing the popcorn ceilings first. And the good thing was this property was built in 1981 because up to 1978, popcorn ceilings could have asbestos in them, and that's much more costly to have removed. And to protect the estate and the personal representative, I would never recommend they remove popcorn ceilings that has asbestos in it without doing it the correct environmental way. Next is to update light fixtures, especially in the bathrooms. A light fixture can be obtained for a lot of them under $50 and then installed by a handyman, and it will bring up the condition of the entire bathroom to have a nice updated shiny light fixture. One of the places I source these light fixtures is Amazon, and a lot of times they even come with the light bulbs. On top of that, the next thing is leaky faucets. Fixing these leaks will, one, save you on water costs, and two, keep the buyers from thinking there's something totally wrong with the plumbing in this house. A lot of times it's just some small plumbing thing that needs to be fixed, or sometimes you actually need to replace the faucets. This is a big one, worn carpets. Let's talk about Tom. And the house was in average condition, but the flooring, the carpet was old, and Tom's father had had pets, and there was a lot of damage to this old carpet. Tom wanted to put the house on the market as is and run with it, but I explained to him that buyers can only see what is, not what a home can be. And having these soiled carpets was going to turn off a lot of the buyer pool, and that wouldn't help him to get the highest price, best terms offers on his father's home. And after the sale, he realized that it was a great idea to replace the carpets and the pad, and we did have to also have the floors sealed because of the odor that comes from pets using it as their bathroom. Anyway, he was happy that he listened to our guidance and got the carpets replaced. This next one is replacing cabinet hardware. This is a very cost-effective fix. Swapping out the old knobs and handles in the bathroom and in the kitchen and maybe in the hallway cabinets is very inexpensive and makes a huge difference on how buyers see the home. We recently helped with a house in Lakeside, and the cabinets were older. The hinges were this bronzy color. which is kind of in right now. Bronze is popular. But the knobs and the handles were 1980 curly Q. And no young buyer was going to be loving those kind of handles. So I just went and sourced on Amazon new handles and knobs for that home and had a handyman change them out, and it made a huge difference on how the kitchen looked, and it cost less than, I believe, a couple of $100s. The next thing is landscaping. If you have an area around the front of the house that has bushes and there's weeds growing up, that does not look great to a buyer. Plus, it makes the house look very unkept, but of course, weeds just grow. It's just a fact of life. My recommendation is to have a gardener come, pull all of those weeds, and then to keep the weeds down during our marketing and sale, we want to have a bunch of bark put in there. The gardener will go and source that from Lowe's or someplace like that, and then they'll install the bark for you, and it just makes the house look clean and fresh. So that's another tip you might want to consider. This is the most important tip I have, no matter whether the house is being sold as is, as a fixer, or it's in wonderful condition, is getting the property deep cleaned. Having someone come in and clean the property, including the windows. We have a special window company that we use that comes in and cleans the windows and the sills and even cleans the screens. One, it lets all the light come in, and two, it looks so much better to buyers when they see clean windows. Now, of course, 3 months later, the windows probably won't be clean once the buyers move in, but they don't see it like that. Also, with the deep cleaning of the home, your loved one passed away, you came in, all the personal property was removed. Now we have appliances that need cleaned, we have kitchen cabinets that need wiped down and inside. It's just really important to have the home clean so that buyers can come in and see it in its best light, even when selling as is. Next is our soft staging. We have another video about that here on the channel that you might want to look into. But soft staging really helps the home to see, and our soft staging really helps the home to feel more like home to buyers. We don't bring in all kinds of furniture and that, but we do virtual stage our clients' homes so that online buyers can see what furnishings would look like inside the home. So that's an important step, is making sure that whoever you're working with can do some soft staging to make the home look prettier. And you might want to watch that video next. Next is changing out the old outlets and switch covers. The potential client that we just met with a few days ago and his family, they wanted to change out the electrical, paint, and put in carpet. I talked about the popcorn ceilings. We discussed the benefit of changing out the outlets because they were that almond color, and they were quite dirty because the property was built in 1981. And it's a cost-effective change, especially if they're going to be putting the money into carpet, removing popcorn ceilings and having the ceilings retextured and painted, and painting all the walls. The recommendation is, go all the way and change out the outlets, switches, and the covers to a nice bright white. I talked about how we get the windows cleaned, and the screens are also cleaned by our window cleaning company. If the screens are damaged, a lot of times, especially if the estate doesn't have very much money, we just have the window people take the screens off, clean them, leave them off, and put them in the garage. Sometimes when the house is in very good condition and there's some damaged screens, we'll go ahead and have the screens re-screened so that all of them are in good condition. Here's a pro tip. If your buyer is a VA or FHA buyer, screens cannot have holes in them. That will be called out by the appraiser, so you might as well get it done ahead of time if you're considering advertising the property towards VA, FHA buyers, as well as conventional buyers. I talked about the carpets. Now I'm going to talk about the odor that can come from carpets and the carpets with pets and or a heavy smoker. If the home has been smoked in for decades, it's going to have absorbed those odors. We recently helped with this home that had the carpet that was soiled by animals. The house had a really strong smoke smell too. The decedent had vertical blinds that were the cloth ones, and I had all those removed. We pulled the carpet up, sealed the floors, told you that already, but it made a huge difference in the smell in the house by removing all of the odor absorbing, holding things in the house. Now, it didn't smell perfect, but it smelled a lot better. So that's a really important thing, is to minimize odors. And if there's enough money in the estate and it makes sense, my recommendation is having people come in, clean all the walls, prime all the walls, paint all the walls. It will remove that smoke odor. Talking about dated window treatments, which is those vertical blinds, I always recommend having those removed. We will go and source out rods at Ross or TJ Maxx or Home Goods. They cost around $20 to $25 each, and have a handyman install them. Then we will bring in our staging items of curtains, and I can't tell you how much better it looks than dated vertical blinds to the buyers and to me. And buyers, when they are coming up to the home with their agent to take a look at the property, the agent's fiddling with the lockbox. What are the buyers doing? They're looking around at the front of the house. We always provide fresh doormats for our clients. That way, when the buyers look down and are looking around, they'll see welcome or hi or welcome friends. And it just is a nice beginning to them going in and seeing the home. Those are my recommendations. Of course, every home is different. So please like, comment, subscribe to this channel, hit that bell button so you're notified of our next week's video, because you wouldn't want to miss any of them. Thanks for watching.